It's a quiet time for news at the moment. You've noticed that, dear listener, but that doesn't deter S. Bone and T. Boyd going at it as if news stories and transfer gossip are flying over our shoulder like, I don't know, a machine gun's nest is bearing down on us. But Steve, there are a couple of things that have caught your eye. Let's start with Rich Hughes talking about our competitors in the transfer market.
Yes, that's right. He did a couple of interviews last weekend and earlier in the week. He was being pressed for details about who we're going to sign, when we're going to sign them, if we're not going to sign anybody, why aren't we, and so on and so forth. I'm sure he expects these questions and this sort of grilling at this time of year when it is quiet, and these questions are being asked a little bit before you're likely to get any firm answers from them. But one thing he said caught my eye, and a few people have commented on it, and a few people have taken it as a bit of a negative, but I don't take it as quite the same negative that others do. And he's talking about all the money that's going around in the Championship, and I'm going to quote him directly here. He said, it's tough at the top end of the Championship, but realistically we know we're not going to be competing for players with these teams that have come down, i.e. from the Premier League, with parachute payments, and someone like Middlesbrough who lost in the playoff final. We know there's a lot of money on the table, but our job is to make sure we're competitive with what we do. We're not going to be going toe to toe with those teams that are relegated, but what we are now confident we can do is go toe to toe with the teams towards the bottom half of the Championship and sell what we're trying to do and bring in the right bodies for us moving forward. So what he's saying is, we know our limits. We're not competing with Middlesbrough, West Ham and Wolves and Burnley when they come down, and probably some other clubs at the top, but we are, we know where we are in the sort of Championship hierarchy. But what I'm hoping he means by that, and if he does, he maybe hasn't quite said it as clearly as he could have done, is that we're now, because of these talks that have been held with him and the manager and the chief exec and the owners, I'm hoping what he means is we're now ready to compete with more other clubs in the Championship than we have done previously, because as we know, last season, or the season just finished and the one before it, we were second from bottom in the budget stakes. But I think he is now saying we're competing with more of the clubs. So whereas previously we might have been competing with 3 or 4 Championship clubs in terms of what we were willing to spend, I think he's indicating that we're maybe competing with more, not necessarily the whole bottom half of the Championship, but certainly more of them than just the teams at the very bottom of the spending league. And if you look at what John Messino and Rich Hughes and the squad have done on the field when we've been with that bottom 2 budget, the hope then would be that if we're spending a little bit more and competing in terms of money spent with more teams, we can finish that bit higher. We've shown we're capable of finishing higher than we should based on the budget figures. So if you sort of continue that into an era where we're spending a little bit more, then who's to say we can't finish in mid-table? There's a chap called Luke Ellis on Twitter, a regular Pompey fan on Twitter, who made that point and said, actually, you get into mid-table, 8th place next season gets you in the playoffs, so that you're then almost into the realms of looking up and thinking, we could get in the playoffs. So I'm hoping. I'm putting 2 and 2 together a little bit with Richard Hughes' comments, and I'm sort of assessing what I think he means, and I might be wrong. But that's my take on it. I wonder if the purse strings have been loosened a little bit, and he knows that, and he's probably not able to, he's not able to go into detail, of course, about how much they've got to spend or what the percentage increase might be. but he's kind of implying that maybe we're a little bit more ready to compete with some who previously we haven't competed with.
Do you know a phrase I haven't heard used among Pompey fans for 2 or 3 years now, and I miss it, and it is that of a marquee signing.
Yes, yeah, that's true. All clubs fans like a marquee signing, don't they? Would you have said? Did anyone describe Connor Chaplin last year as a marquee signing?
If they did, I slept through it.
Not because probably not because he was on loan. And I don't know if you can a loan signing be a marquee signing? Probably not really, can they? A marquee signing has to be a big name, somebody you think is going to lead the charge in the season to come, and you probably have to spend a bit of money on them with the transfer fee and the wages, or just the wages, if not the transfer fee. Yeah, we'd like a marquee signing, wouldn't we? Somebody who we know, because they've played for us before, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. I think fans are a little bit less sure of that sort of thing now, because it didn't really work out greatly with John Swift last season, nor with Connor Chaplin, who I think Pompey have said they're not going to pursue at the moment. But sometimes an ex-player or somebody you know because they've played for you excites the fan base, and somebody. Sometimes somebody with a decent sort of transfer fee on their head will have the same effect. Almost like, if they're costing us 3 million, they must be good, which doesn't always follow, does it? So sometimes you can spend big on a player and it just doesn't work. Pompey have had a few of those down the years. Back in the days when spending $1 million was a big outlay for Pompey, they did that on players and it didn't work out for them. But yeah, the marquee signings tend to be a bit later on, don't they, in the window? They tend to be just before the season started, which is a good time to unveil them. We remember Paul Merson coming in 5 days before the 02-03 season. That was the biggest. We'd love a Merson, wouldn't we, this season? But yeah, Richard Hughes has also said, as you'd expect him to say at this time of year, there's not going to be a lot happening for a little while. We know some of our targets. We're working on them. Don't expect a lot of business to be done in the early days of the window, which is, people will find it a little bit frustrating. And at the same time, you don't want to leave it too late. Pompey have on occasions left things too late. But 15th of June the window opens, which as we're speaking now is still about 10 or 11 days away. So we'll have to be patient for a little bit, and then probably once the window opens we'll still have to be patient for a bit longer after that.
I've been looking at unusual transfer requests, because the whole business of transfers is what fills the newspapers during the summer break, and I've got a couple of interesting ones I'll just get your reaction to, Steve. Ion Radu, this is in Romania, was transferred from 1998 this was, and he was transferred for 2 tons of meat.
I like it.
And
that's different, isn't it? Yeah.
Going back only to 2006, and again it's Romanian, UT Arad defender Marius Chiora was outraged when the club accepted a bid for him of 15 kilograms of sausages.
Is that because it wasn't 2 tons of sausages, or maybe was his deal done before the 2 tons of meat? I mean, I can remember some players who have played for us who have resembled 2 tons of meat, but I don't think we've ever done a transfer deal quite like that. You used to get in more in sort of lower league and non-league circles. You sometimes used to get a player going in one direction and two lots of new kit going in the other direction, didn't you? As part of the deal, and things like that. I suppose if a player is being sold for anything other than money, it's gonna that player's not gonna feel very good about it, are they?
No, I did hear a rumour. No, I didn't. I read it in one of those football trivia books that back in the 1930s, when transfers had hardly been invented, a player was transferred from one northern club to another northern club for 30 sheets of corrugated iron so that they could weatherproof one of the sides of the ground. And I like that story. But staying with transfers, I want to get your reaction to this, which is a release that's come to Pompey Sound from an organisation based in Switzerland, an observatory, whatever that is, CIES they're called. And they've collected together the world's 100 most valuable players and their transfer value. Erling Haaland is valued at an eye-watering 227 million.
Wow.
But the guy who's number one, and I've heard of him, and I had to YouTube him to see him in action, and he's pretty good, only 18, called, I'm sure you've heard of him, Lamine Yamal, and the price tag they've got on him is 358 million euros.
Well, that just seems that seems ridiculous, doesn't it? Really, even in this current age where there's a lot of 100 million players around, whereas a few years ago the first 100 million player, I can't remember who that was, but that was quite a milestone, wasn't it? So you've now got quite a few caught up with that. But how can the value of the best footballer in the world have gone up that much in that short space of time? And also, he's only 18. What's that? What sort of pressure is that going to put on him? You have to hope that he doesn't take too much notice of such things himself. He burst onto the scene when he was about 16, I think, didn't he? He was playing for Barcelona in Spain. I think at 16, which is incredible in itself, and he's clearly a top player. But 357 million, so that means he's 50% better than Haaland, for example. And I'm sure there's some other 200 million pound players in that list. I don't think Pompey will be going for any of them, will they?
No, probably not.
Shows really how money has taken over football, doesn't it? Really, and got out of control.
But I will say this. One of the first grumbles I heard my granddad have when I was about 8, and he used to watch the football results coming in, and Fred Pickering was transferred to Everton for 100,000, and my granddad was the first person I heard come out with the phrase, "There's too much money in football now."
Yeah, it was. We were saying it even then. Yeah. When you were 8 years old, people were saying it. I suppose maybe it's always been the way, but it seems to have been magnified.
Well, supposing Spain win the World Cup, and they are the favourites, with most of the bookies, if not all of them, supposing they win the World Cup, and he has a headlining, plays a headlining part in that, well, what's he going to be worth then?
Yeah, it doubles again, doesn't it? If he's the star of the World Cup, if he scores some worldies and helps his team win it, he's probably up to 400 million or 500 million, isn't he?
I shouldn't ask you this because you're not supposed to know the answer to it, but do other countries have financial regulations in the style or the manner which we do?
I don't know. I mean I kind of think they must do, mustn't they? Because if I don't know. I mean the really big football nations. If you look at how much money is spent on players in Spain, particularly, to a lesser extent Italy, Germany, and so on, France. You kind of think there must be some rules in place, but they don't. But given how much money is spent by the top clubs, that would suggest the rules aren't very strict. I mean, over here, they seem to be or the authorities seem to be trying to work towards making them stricter, and forcing football clubs not to make not to make losses, but to make smaller losses. That seems to be the trend here at the moment. And there's only so much you can do. There's the market forces are at work as well, aren't they? But if there's a club somewhere that's going to spend 357 million on the Spanish wonder kid, then that would suggest that the rules in that club's country aren't very strict.
At the other end of things, financially, 3 local clubs are lamenting the fact that they are going to, they say, lose something in the region of £20,000 attendance money because they're not going to have a pre-season friendly with Pompey. I'd be really interested in your take on that whole story.
I've seen this come out. Neil Allen, the News, has done a piece, came out Wednesday, I think, saying that Pompey have no plans to, or seemingly have no plans to visit Gosport Borough, which I always like to go and see because it's about a 10-minute walk from my house. Bognor, who they've gone to pretty much every year for the past 12 or 13 years, and Havant and Waterlooville, who they've gone to pretty much every year for much longer than that. And it seems to be that Pompey do not want to send their first team squad to play a full game on an artificial pitch, because all those 3 clubs have now got artificial pitches. It's the way that a lot of non-league clubs have gone, and you can see why they've done it, although ironically they've done it for financial reasons, to give themselves a pitch that they can hire out as well as play on regularly themselves, and in doing so they've inadvertently done themselves out of a big annual payday with Pompey coming to town. I think it's a real shame, because I've seen quite a few people respond to this news by saying good, because Pompey shouldn't be playing those sort of teams. That's no warm up for the championship season. They should be playing better teams. But I think it's about more than that. I don't think it's Pompey going to those sort of teams is just about getting themselves ready for the season. I think it's about showing that they are part of the community, showing that they have a relationship with these smaller clubs around them who could be beneficial to them. Let's not forget it works both ways, with sort of player loans and things like that. And these games they're always well attended. Gosport, Bognor and Havant can always expect to get 1,000 plus in for these friendlies. And there will be some fans who don't get to Fratton Park during the season and whose only glimpse of Pompey every year is at these local games. So I do think it's a shame they're not going. If the manager is worried about sending his top players to play on those pitches, couldn't Pompey come up with a Pompey 11 with some fringe players or some academy players? A team of players wearing the Pompey shirt, which would be almost as appealing to the local fans and the other clubs. Would still get decent numbers through the gate. It's a shame a compromise couldn't be found, but certainly Gosport, Bognor and Havant are all saying we don't think Pompey are coming. We're disappointed. The Gosport's secretary is making the point that Gosport's chairman is Ian McInnes, who of course was Pompey's chairman during the fan ownership years, and he kind of makes the point it's a shame that Pompey couldn't do a bit more for him as the chairman. Pompey haven't said much themselves about this yet. They haven't actually come out and explained in any detail their decision, the reasoning for not going to these friendlies. But I do think it's a shame. I think there'll be quite a lot of people that will not now get the chance to see Pompey this summer who previously would have done.
Yeah, I was keen to get your view on that one, because I know how close you stay to grassroots football. Well, football at all levels, actually. And of course, we won't really know enough to try and make 4 out of 2+2 until Pompey announce their pre-season schedule in full.
Yeah, and I suspect that Pompey will be going abroad for a training camp, which I think they've already indicated won't feature a game. It will only feature a sort of open training session for the fans who go to watch. Be interesting to see what games they line up over here. I think they'll probably look at one sort of decent home game. they'll probably go to play a Charlton or a Wimbledon or a Crystal Palace Academy team or something like that. Be interesting to see if they do line up any games on 3G or any games against other non-league teams, because if they do, then Gosport, Havant and Bognor can rightfully say to them, what are you doing? Why aren't you playing us?
Yeah.
So we'll await those details with great interest.
Of course, a lot depends on when the new pitch is available to support a 98-minute football match, which they all are nowadays.
Yeah, we might not see a home friendly again, I suppose, and if we do, it'll be very late it'll be like the Saturday before it all kicks off. I think the first game is the League Cup this year, I think, isn't it? The 7th, 8th of August, something like that, 8th of August. So we might be able to fit in a home friendly on the 1st and 2nd that weekend. Doubt whether we would see anything at home before then. I mean, even a home friendly would make some money for the club, wouldn't it? You know, if you can half fill the ground with decent opposition, get people to go to the club shop, buy their new shirts for the season and so on. Must be a bit of a money spinner, you would think. So no, it'd be interesting to see the itinerary when it comes out, and it must be out soon because other clubs are putting out their list of friendlies. So Pompey must be quite well advanced in working out what they're going to do, I would think.
Yes, Pompey fans, football fans everywhere, have these little, not milestones, but signposts through the summer that indicate that we'll soon be able to watch some proper football and have a cup of Bovril and do all the things that make our Saturday afternoons, if we're lucky enough to get a Saturday afternoon fixture, what they are. And one of those is, as you rightly say, the announcement of the fixture list, and we can immediately start wondering which of the away games we might get to. And, of course, the publication, the unveiling of the new shirt. And then the putting your hands in your pockets, which 1,200 people have done at the very last minute, apparently, to max out our season ticket sales. So it's an expensive tune already.
It is, yeah. I think it's 12,000 rather than 1,200, isn't it? In fact, season ticket sales.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I misspoke. Of the 15,000, there were still 1,200 available at 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Today's a Thursday. And yesterday, 4 p.m. was the cut-off date. So if we sold all our season tickets, then some people have had to be hot, quick out of the blocks.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, and it happens most years, doesn't it? The season ticket sales. Everybody thinks, oh, it was a bit of a rocky season last season. There'll be a lot of people that won't renew, but actually, most people do renew. And unless you have a disaster class of a season, I think a lot of people will renew because it's in the blood, isn't it? It's habit. You don't buy a season ticket just because you want Pompey to win the league every year. You buy it because you're going to go and watch them. You're going to want to watch them in good times and bad. So that will be why season tickets have been so strong. They were possibly a little bit slower at one stage because there was some people just waiting to see if the owners would make any noises or if the manager would go or stay or what have you, and he's still here now as we speak, of course, which will have encouraged some people to part with their money. But yeah, it's all part of the summer's sort of journey, isn't it, really? Get your season ticket in the bag, wait to see the fixtures, and I think the fixtures will be out probably about 3 weeks' time from now. So we'll see when we're off to West Ham and Wolves and Lincoln and places like that. It'll be interesting.
Glad you mentioned Lincoln. What are they going to do now? They've lost their entire team, haven't they? Their entire coaching staff to where's he gone? Bristol City. Bristol
City, isn't it? Yeah, they've lost the manager who got them up and 2 or 3 others as well. I haven't seen, although I haven't really looked for it, I haven't seen what they're likely to do in terms of replacements. They may already have replaced him, I don't know. You may know more about that than me. Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? When a team gets promoted, the fans are always going to want that same manager to keep the momentum going, keep the team together and go again in the higher league. When you lose the manager, you then risk losing a few of the players who will be loyal to him, and he may want to take a few of them with him to Bristol City. So you're almost starting again, but you're having to do that in the higher division, which isn't easy. I think Lincoln will do okay. Actually, I'm looking forward to seeing them in the Championship. We've had quite a few good battles with them in League One over the years, haven't we? You've had a Lincoln fan as a regular on Pompey Sound in the past as well, so I'm sure you'll be linking up with them. Linking up with Lincoln, if that's not a tongue twister, linking up with them again. But yeah, no, it's a setback for them losing their manager at this stage. They wouldn't have expected that, I don't think.
Just on the bits and pieces stories that are bobbling around at the minute, did you get to catch the fact that Hadji Minoga, if you remember him, on a personal note, I had very high hopes of him, has had an excellent season for Salford, and they wanted him to sign up again, and he's out of contract and he's refused. He's casting his net elsewhere. He wants Division 1 or better, and from the sounds of it, he deserves it.
Yeah, he was very highly rated for a while when he was at Pompey, wasn't he? And he had a few chances in the first team. He never quite nailed down a regular place. Seem to remember I don't know if he had a couple of injury setbacks. I know there was a couple of games, and I can't remember if this was with us or when he went out on loan. He got sent off a couple of times, and there was a few question marks over the sort of disciplinary side of his game. But yeah, he was a good young player. He's gone on to do well with Salford, and they were very close to automatic promotion. Could have got up on the last day when they played at Crawley and just couldn't quite win. That then put them in the playoffs, and of course sometimes when you just miss out on promotion, you're not in the right frame of mind for the playoffs, and that's possibly what happened to them there. Lost out, and he obviously thinks, I imagine he would have stayed with them if they'd gone up, tested himself in League One. Obviously thinks he can do a job for somebody else in League One, and I would have thought somebody else will snap him up pretty quickly.
Let's get a couple of fleeting thoughts from you about the upcoming World Cup. First of all, are you getting excited about it? Is there going to be beer in the fridge for a month on end?
I think I will, but I'm not. Given that it's only about a week away, it doesn't feel like it's a week away to me. There's not been as much hype yet as there normally would be, and I don't really know. I don't think that's just me. I think I've heard that from a lot of people, and I don't know if that's because it's in the States and Mexico, and it's half the games are in the middle of the night, or whether it's because there's been a lot of controversy about it. There's been all the sort of political angles coming into it, getting in the way of the football. But I think when we get to the night of the first game, Thursday night next week, I think it is the 11th, and then the build up to England's first game, I think it will take over, and there may be one or two light shandies in the fridge at that point. I will be digging out the England shirt. I've got a red England shirt, which is a replica of what they wore in the 1982 World Cup, and I've still got my trusty old World Cup '82 coffee mug, which only comes out for World Cup finals, and I will be digging that out, and it will have coffee in it, not beer. So there's a few World Cup traditions coming out, and I think once it starts, we'll all get into it. We'll all be sort of looking through. Almost daring not to look at England, because I'm sure they'll make hard work of some of their games, but somehow get through to the latter stages. And yeah, once it starts, it just takes over, doesn't it? Consumes you. Really, it takes over for the 4. I think it's actually 5 weeks this year, isn't it? Rather than 4.
It is.
Stretch it out. So many teams involved. They have to take longer to give them all a chance. So. Yeah, not really greatly excited yet, but probably will be in due course.
We've only got a couple of minutes left, but you did mention to me in a message you sent yesterday that you would quite like to say a few words about 2 Liverpool legends who have had some bad news and they're in for a battle.
Yes, we had news on Monday that Kevin Keegan, I think, had said he had stage 4 cancer, and was sort of taking that on and battling against that. And then a day later, Kenny Dalglish revealed that he was battling cancer, it's just an odd sort of coincidence, really, and a sad coincidence that both those players, they were from the same era, and they were when I first started watching football, they were the two biggest superstars of the game, really, the two biggest names. I know one, Dalglish obviously followed Keegan to Liverpool. They didn't play together at Liverpool, and I when I was sort of reflecting on their careers and the times and the fact that I was lucky enough to see them play, I remembered that I did see both play. What I'd forgotten, actually, is that I saw them both play in the same game. So I count myself fortunate in that respect, and I've got the details in front of me here. Southampton against Liverpool, because of course when Dalglish went to Liverpool, Keegan moved to Hamburg first of all, and then Southampton managed to sign him in 1980, I think it was, or 80 I think, and he had a couple of years at Southampton when they were quite a force in the First Division. And when I first started going to Pompey with my dad and my sister, if Pompey were away and Southampton had a good home game against a top team, we would go up to the Dell, go in the away end, and see the First Division stars of the day. And on the 24th of April 1982, we saw a Liverpool lineup featuring Kenny Dalglish take on a Southampton lineup featuring Kevin Keegan.
Oh, wow.
And you look at the Southampton team also included Mick Shannon, Alan Ball, Mark Wright, Chris Nicol, David Armstrong, some real big names, and the Liverpool team. They are all household names. I'll talk you through it. Grobbelaar, Phil Neal, Mark Lawrenson, Alan Kennedy, Ronnie Whelan, Phil Thompson, Dalglish, number 7 of course, Sammy Lee, Ian Rush, Craig Johnson, Alan Hansen. Strangely, Alan Hansen was number 11. I don't know what he was doing, whether he was wandering around on the left wing that day. I don't know. Can't quite work that out. But finished 3-2 to Liverpool, and I think I'm right in saying that there was a Southampton Liverpool game that I was at as well, which you can see on YouTube now, and Southampton scored an amazing team goal where they passed it around from the back. It was like a sort of Pep football long before Pep had come along, and it was it's one of those sort of famous goals that people still rave about now. But on this particular day, Keegan on one side, Dalglish on the other side. Keegan scored a penalty for Southampton. Dalglish didn't score, but Ian Rush did, and I think Kenny Dalglish set it up. And probably didn't appreciate at the time how lucky we all were to be seeing those two superstars on the same pitch. 44 years ago, and just to say we wish them well, both well in their respective battles.
Absolutely. As ever, Steve, thank you so much. Talk soon.
Look forward to it.